Hi everyone, it's Chenzo from Reality Art Pod. I'm here to talk about Survivor Season 45, Episode 11, titled This Game Rips Your Heart Out. Dramatic title, I'm into it. Previously on Survivor, Austin won immunity and Bruce was voted out of the game with his idol in his pocket. Before I dive in, thank you for your support on the last video, and you can go back and watch all of my previous Survivor recaps in the link below and above. So let's dive into it. When they get back to camp, they are celebrating, duping Bruce, shouting, "Let's pop the champagne," but nobody's happier than Katurah. She's happy that Bruce is gone and relishing in the silence at camp. Emily explains to the group that she told Bruce that Julie was playing him, really showing them that she orchestrated the vote. Julie points out that Emily made a genius move, which probably isn't good for Emily. At night, the Rebas relish in their four being the majority now, and they solidify their commitment to being the final four. Austin confesses that they're like the mafia. This is a problematic trend in reality TV. Maybe I'm naive, but being in the mafia is a bad thing, right? Dee and Austin cuddle under the stars, and they are flirting, and reflecting on their previous flirting, they're down and rizzing it up in the sand. Austin wants to visit Dee after the show. He says that his favorite moments on the show are Rob and Amber, and we get a gratuitous montage of Rob and Amber. But in this relationship, I think that Dee is the Rob. I like showmances on Survivor. I feel like it's a rare thrill. Dee says she told herself not to have a showmance, but she's having her fun doing it. Austin says if he doesn't win, he wants Dee to win. In the morning, Jake is reflecting. He's emo because he got votes at Tribal. He tells Katurah he hopes the apple cart is upset. He tells us he's running in the cesspit at the bottom. They agree to work together. Katurah reminds us that she's a lawyer and is still not telling Jake that she's a lawyer. Then Julie, who's also a lawyer, comes to join them in the sand. Katurah tells them her backstory of her family joining an extreme religious cult when she was a kid and then running away. Katurah's backstory was one of the craziest Survivor backstories that I've heard, but pretty awesome and inspiring, and she ended up working really hard to become a lawyer, so we love Katurah. At camp, a boat comes in. One person has to go on the boat, and if multiple people want to go, they have to draw a rock, so they all draw the rock. Emily gets the green rock and has to go on the journey. Julie and Drew talk about how Emily is making a resume for herself, but Drew breaks out the old chestnut from last week of how Julie is the mom and is a threat, and it's revealed that Julie still has Austin's idol. I think it's fun that Austin gave Julie his idol to hold on to, and she just kept it. Drew says that Julie is holding on to the idol like Gollum with the ring. Julie tells Dee she feels suspicious of Drew for asking her if she wants to play the idol. Elsewhere in Fiji, Emily gets to her journey and has to make her decision, and I was hoping that she would be on a boat with Cochran choosing from the advantage menu. On the way, Emily reflects on her time in the game, and it does end up being a really nice character moment for her. Emily's decision is she gets the opportunity to try the Savvy task from the premiere episode that everyone failed. If she completes it, she'll be safe at Tribal, but if she plays and loses, she loses her vote. Emily decides not to try this, and this seemed like the right decision because this puzzle looks really impossible. It's obvious that production just wants to see someone complete it, but as a viewer, I have no idea what they're supposed to do with it. Can we get Carson to 3D print this puzzle so we never have to see it again? Back at camp, Drew approaches Katurah and Jake and floats the idea of them targeting Dee and Julie. They're of course down, they have limited choices. Katurah then goes to Austin with this plan. Austin is down to target Julie but not Dee, and his dilemma is that this decision would upset Dee and they would lose the numbers. Emily comes back and tells them the truth about her decision, but Dee is not buying it. Emily gets a lot of information when she comes back. Drew and Austin tell her that Julie's targeting her, and Katurah tells Emily that Katurah is down to blindside Julie. At the challenge, Jeff takes that immunity back from Austin because that pretty little thing is back up for grabs. In the challenge, they'll have to race attached to ropes to untangle enough slack in the rope to get across the course. Then they'll throw bags to knock down blocks, which will make an arched puzzle spelling out a word. I give Jeff a lot of crap, but explaining these challenges is really hard. They're playing for immunity and burgers back at camp with all the fixins. Jake is first to try to run towards his puzzle, but he doesn't have enough slack, and is it just me or does the show always highlight when Jake makes a mistake in a challenge? Drew makes it to the blocks first and says, "Holy cow, I'm in the lead," but then he really cannot throw. Jeff likes pointing out Drew's bad throws, and he does get all of his blocks down first though. The challenge comes down to Drew and Austin. Drew seems to know the word but is struggling to get the blocks to behave, and Austin gets his puzzle right and gets the blocks to behave but doesn't realize he has to solve the puzzle on both sides. So Austin kind of just starts staring at his puzzle, and while Austin is dissociating, Drew wins immunity. Well deserved, and after an intense heckling from Jeff. Drew kicks the puzzle and he wins immunity and all the fixins. Jeff says invite someone to join you and tell us why. Did they always have to give reasons why? He picks Jake and Austin. Back at camp, the girls seem understanding that the boys got a reward because they just got one, and the girls decide to have a spa day, aka rubbing sand in their face in the water. They have nothing to talk about, so they read their buffs. Ooh, made in Spain, they say. They're fake smiling and laughing despite there being little trust between all of them. The guys chow down on their burgers. They're really taking the burgers to the face. They talk about targeting Julie. Jake tells us he's an actor in his real life and he's been playing a tree in the background, and now he feels like he's promoted himself into a supporting role in the game. The guys return to camp after. Austin is feeling uneasy about keeping the vote from Dee. He talks to Dee and he freaking tells Dee that they're voting for Julie. Dee is clearly not happy. She gives him that unhappy girlfriend face, and they cut to commercial here, but there's still 30 minutes left in this episode, so y'all know the editors are just getting started. Y'all better listen up because this shit is about to get complicated. After the commercial, we go back to the same conversation because it's important. Dee says she won't write Julie's name down. She's not down for this and she's torn. Dee tells Julie that she needs to put on her acting face. She says you need to play the idol and we're gonna vote for Emily. Julie's acting face is not good. Julie is clearly pissed. She's visibly angry. She's tapping her feet. She goes to Jake and Emily. She says, let's make a move and vote Austin. She says, if you're not down, I'm going rogue. Julie tells us she's playing that idol and whoever she votes for is going the hell home. Sidebar, I really like Julie's rampage. This was good television. The boys come back to camp and Drew talks to Emily and Jake, who tell him what Julie said. Now they're suspicious that Julie knows about the plan. Austin does tell Drew that he told Dee about the plan, but he says that he trusts Dee not to tell Julie about it. Before they go to tribal, Dee tells Julie that the plan is for everyone, including Dee, to vote for Julie, and that Julie needs to vote for Emily to get Emily out. But Julie doesn't like being told what to do, so heading into tribal, what we're wondering is Julie gonna vote for Emily or Austin? At tribal, the talk is kind of boring. Jake says he thinks the game is getting hotter. Drew says it's getting easier, and they all feel unsafe. Jeff says it sounds like an interesting afternoon. As a viewer, it definitely was. Jeff is not happy when nobody wants to address the interesting afternoon. He wants to know what was happening at camp, and he will not accept Drew's vague answer. Drew gives a boring historical reference to answer it and successfully appeases Jeff's thirst for filling time. Emily tells Jeff that this game rips your heart out sometimes, and she says the thing finally, but it is part of a little bit of jury pandering. We get to the votes, and they show everyone voting for Julie. Emily said while she's voting, if you make it to the end, you have my vote to win, which very much reminded me of Xian voting for Amber in All Stars. The big question is, who is Julie voting for? And they don't show it, obviously. Jeff asks if anyone has an idol, and Julie raises her hand and plays the idol for herself. Dee acts shocked. Jeff reads the votes. Lots of Julie does not count. Julie ends up going with the plan and voting for Emily, so we have to say goodbye to Emily here, who, in my opinion, was the star of the season, and I'm kind of shocked that she didn't make it to the finale. We got a complete growth arc from her coming into the game, rubbing everyone the wrong way, but really discovering a softer, more friendly side to herself along the way. I thought she was a greater TV character than I originally expected, and I'm happy we got to see her tipsy sangria confessional. It was really impressive that she ended up being the last member of her disaster tribe in the game, and really ended up being in a strong position in the game until she gets idled out here, which is a respectful way to go. She has really good instincts for the game, but I ultimately think her undoing was she didn't do a good job managing her relationships with the other women in the game. If she could have gotten Dee and Julie on her side, she could have just rode it out to the final 5 at least with the Rebas, which is better than 7. I'm certain that we'll see her again on Survivor, probably soon. I've been saying we need a new era second chances season before the big season 50. Next time on Survivor, Julie and Drew are at war and Katurah and Jake want to blindside someone. I want to make a prediction about next week, but I guess anyone could go home. I think it's going to be hard for Drew to come back from blindsiding Julie, or attempting to, and that bridge is pretty burnt, and I feel like the Rebas won't let Jake and Katurah still get anywhere near a final 3 chair based on how many bellows are on the jury, but I guess we'll see. But I have something else for you. If you made it this far into the video, I know you care, but if I can get to 400 subscribers by the end of this Survivor season, what if I took a trip down memory lane and rewatched Survivor Season 1? So that's a deal I'll make. If you want it, you might not want it. If you want it, like, comment, subscribe yourself. It helps. I'll be back next Wednesday with an update. Until then, have a good weekend. Bye.